Flora Nwapa left a legacy of literary and cultural influence, having been recognized as the first African woman to write in English and the first Nigerian novelist to be published, making her the precursor of an entire female generation of her race, who has been referred to as the mother of African literature. Her first novel, titled Efuru, was the first internationally published book in English by an African woman, appearing in print in 1966. Nonetheless, Nwapa's writing career extended far beyond her famous novel Efuru, for she also published numerous novels, a collection of short stories, poetry, and even children's books, making a contribution to global feminism through her publications. Moreover, she created strong and resilient characters in her novels, with most of her novels being centered on women. Hence her ambition to write about the experiences of women in her society, and her determination to refurbish the image of women caught the attention of the world. Florence Kiru Nwapa was a Nigerian novelist best known for recreating stories about Igbo life and customs from a woman's viewpoint, as well as her continual compassionate portrayal of women in modern Nigerian society. Flora Nwapa was born on the 13th of January 1931 in Oguta, Nigeria. She was educated in Ogula, Port Harcourt, and Lagos before attending University of Ibadan and thereafter the University of Edinburgh from 1953 to 1957. On returning to Nigeria, she worked as a teacher and an administrator from 1959 until the Biafran Civil War erupted in 1967. After the war, Nwapa was appointed Commissioner for Health and Social Welfare in East Central State before she formed Tana Press, as well as Flora Nwapa Company, which was the first indigenous publishing house owned by an African woman in West Africa. Her first novel, Efuru, published in 1966, is based on an old folktale of a woman chosen by the gods. The story of Efuru is a story about a talented, brilliant, and beautiful Igbo woman who is confined by tradition, whereby a woman's fundamental role of childbearing is prescribed for her, and if she does not fulfill that role, she suffers the negative criticism from her community. The story of Efuru is set in a small village in colonial West Africa with strong themes of youth, marriage, motherhood, and eventual personal epiphany of a young woman in rural Nigeria. Despite it being lauded as an important African and feminist story, the novel Efuru was initially met with criticisms, as many considered Nwapa's English to be weak and the story of Efuru to be inauthentic. Yet in her defense, English was not her first language and was thus majorly foreign to her, while the story of Efuru was based on a folktale passed down from generation to generation and retold by word of mouth, hence its interpretation varied depending on the storyteller. Other publications by Flora Nwapa include Idu, which was published in 1970, Emeka Driver's Guide, published in 1972, Never Again, published in 1975, Wives at War, published in 1980, One Is Enough, published in 1981, Cassava Song and Rice Song, published in 1986, Women Are Different, published in 1986, This Is Lagos and Other Stories, published in 1986, and her final novel, The Lake Goddess, was posthumously published in 1995 by African World Press. Flora Nwapa was excited about indigenous literary production and actively stressed the importance of creating opportunities for Nigerian writers to publish their works locally. Still, despite calling for more indigenous published works, Nwapa found a lack of interest from the government of Nigeria in supporting local publishers. Unfortunately, Nwapa's ventures fell apart as she struggled to afford the costs of supporting her publishing houses. As a matter of fact, several books published by her firms were of low quality and thus compromised by financial constraints. Still, Nwapa's lack of success as a publisher is inconsequential in comparison to her great feats as a civil servant, as an author, and as a champion of women's empowerment in Africa. In 1983, President Shehu Shagari honored her with the coveted Officer of the Order of the Niger Award for her service to the Federal Republic of Nigeria in creative writing and publishing. Additionally, Nwapa's career in literary production also earned her the University of Ife's Merit Award for authorship and publishing in 1985. Flora Nwapa died of pneumonia on the 16th of October 1993 in Enugu at the age of 62. She left a legacy of literary and cultural influence, having been honored throughout the years for her work. She was the subject of a documentary entitled House of Nwapa, created by Onyeka Nwelwe, that premiered in August of 2016. Moreover, Nwapa's son Uzoma Gogo Nwakuche founded the Flora Nwapa Foundation, a California non-profit corporation, in 1994 following the death of his mother. What's more, the Flora Nwapa Foundation celebrated 50 years since the publication of her first novel, Efuru, in 2016. And finally, on the 13th of January 2017, Flora Nwapa's birthday was marked with a Google Doodle.